Alrighty, just let's see, make sure everything is good here. Think audio is alright. Got the music playing. Then we got the live tweet in just a moment. Here we are. Alrighty. Good afternoon or evening for some of you. Coming to you again with another stream, and it's gonna be a fun one, I hope. So I got two goals for this stream today. I got a artist card that I want to work on it for the convention that's coming up in about 2 weeks or 1.5 weeks, and I'm participating in a stamp rally, which is gonna be Aliens Encrypted theme. And so I thought, ACEOs have been getting pretty popular lately, so why not work on one? And then the other one is kind of a report on how the craft fair went that I went to last week. So since craft fair is going to be a smaller topic, let's start with that one. And just find the right tab here. There we are. I did not take a whole lot of pictures for reasons. I would say it's been a pretty traditional, like, one-day craft fair experience. And so if you've ever been to one, you'll know what I'm talking about, but it was very much candies, foods, candles, soap, home decor items. There was actually a book dating service there, which is actually kind of a fun concept now that I think about it. Is blind dating, but with books. They just give you a book that's wrapped up in paper, a little bit of twine, some extra bits, and you just unwrap that baby like it's a present on Christmas. So it's a pretty clever way of introducing somebody to a book that they might have not read otherwise. So that was fun to see. I'll just zoom in here a little bit. So this was my booth for the event. Very, very minimal, very trimmed down. Just because I didn't want to bring a whole lot to begin with. And I anticipated coming in with a lot more merchandise in general, but I just never got around to it. As always a worry as an artist, sometimes you just don't have the juice to do it. And so what I ended up doing though is bringing a bunch of my older stickers that I had, and that is right over here. So we got the Pacific convenience set, but just a couple of them. So like the whale, they got a layer right here. There we go. We got the whale here. We had the blobfish pudding. Just gonna make that a little brighter. We had the octopus bear claw donut, the crackling turtle. I had some stuff from a Goblin Gummy set that I did 2 balls ago, I believe. Oh, time flies. The blackberry Danish squid, the jellyfish gummies, the pretzel pufferfish, the mushrooms, goblin grunt, marlin biscuit snacks, otter pops. This guy was the sluggy clears. We got the sodas down here. And up here is well in pin format. I didn't sell any of those this weekend, unfortunately. This wasn't enough interest, but that's the crowd for you. I actually surprisingly sold a set of these. These were the Kiki and Totoro recipe card set that I had. And I was actually kind of surprised that there were more people openly wearing that kind of stuff at a show like this. I will say is more like Star Trek, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Star Wars, yeah. I saw somebody wearing a Tokyo Ghoul shirt. That was kind of interesting. It was actually a big burly guy too, tatted up and everything. He had a Oblivion Keyblade on as a tattoo on one of his arms. So that was kind of cool. There was actually a booth a little ways off from where I was selling like K-pop Demon Hunter stuff. I think most of it was like official or bootleg merchandise as opposed to fan merch. But that was interesting to see. Over here, oh yeah, here. It was yeah, just a lot of stuff in general, all related to K-pop Demon Hunters. Then over here I had some prints. I actually sold some prints this weekend, which was also interesting. And it wasn't just 2 little kids, you know, it was a grown woman who bought some prints. I think she got the Tangla Tart and the Love Disc Truffles. So that was good. I also did something a little bit different this time around. I decided to do originals, like live illustrated originals. So I just did, you know, basic pencil and ink. I drew just whatever came to mind. I have one more print which I will show you that's not in this set, and then there was one that I love to see door prize for the event. That's the thing about the smaller events like craft fairs and whatnot. They do have a tendency to ask if you will be willing to donate like a door prize item. That way it just gets people more excited to come to the show and shop around. And then I just didn't really have a good place to put my 2 main prints here. The Pacific Conveni collection print, and then the burger print, the Rockabilly burger. But overall, it was a pretty decent, like, small setup. It was easy to read, easy to scan. I will say, though, I did not really get the best placement for the event like this, so I'm just gonna quickly illustrate that here. So the event itself was in a event center that has been used for concerts and sports and that kind of stuff. So it was laid out just kind of like this. We had the main square, and then there was this side area here, and then there were a couple of additional rooms off to the side, and we had tables just going back and forth, and then some booths along the sides, and some more along here, and then another set over here. And this was the main entrance. You could probably guess by now what placement I got. There is a minor difference from what I was told initially and what was the final result. When I got to the reception desk for getting my placement and all of that, they were like, you know what, we're gonna move you. And so originally I was gonna be down here, and they just ended up moving me up here. So I had kind of that corner spot, and I kind of wish I had brought a second table, but at the same time, what was I gonna put on it? Sorry about that, I tapped the microphone there. But yeah, it was just not the greatest placement. And get this, the back wall of that area, this one right here, was like this. And you know how they advertised that there were vendors over here? I kid you not. Like this. One little sign over here. That was in the middle of another vendor space. So it was just like right here. So it was over here, and then you could see a little bit of the tables over here. Bad perspective. And then we had footprint things printed off on little sheets of paper. But yeah, these two things here were basically all indication that you had that there were more things over here. So that's probably the first time in a post-event review that I just gone like full on mucho texto. I was just writing about how they could have improved the overall presentation and it directed more traffic our way, because We were really thirsty back here. Um, and I will tell you, I was negative for the weekend, which is incredibly surprising, given that it only cost less than $100 to begin with. So it was not worth my time at all. But I chalk it up as a research type of event. But anyway, that's all fine and dandy. Let's look at the originals that I worked on. So I did 7 pieces total for the originals. One of them was the door prize, which is this one here. And I just gave it a splash of color just to make it a little more interesting. Drink chips sandwich. Then we had pizza. And I wish I could have drawn this bacon a little bit better. But it is what it is. There's this cake that I had. It was a marble cake that I had back on my birthday. So I just pulled up a picture, did a little bit of reinterpretation, and then drew it out. And then we got a waffle. This one was pretty nice. I liked it. It was a waffle that I had at a Village Inn, and I tell you, I actually haven't been to a Village Inn in I want to say like 20 years. Like literally like the last time I was in one was when I was coming back from church with my grandma, and she was just wanting to take me to some place to get some brunch before she took me back to my parents. So yeah, I haven't been there in forever. So I got some Belgian waffles, a good amount of butter, and this is kind of my guilty pleasure. I love putting jam on my waffles or pancakes, along with the maple syrup and butter. Just that extra bit of sweetness. This one was a burger, and I try to do kind of a exploded style, see if that would work. And the just plain pencil and illustration style, I will say I probably ended up looking a little bit more like a chicken sandwich than a burger. But this one was actually the pesto burger that I had at a restaurant called Angry Goldfish. And it's actually a really fun, like, little, I guess you might call it a dive bar in a way, but they're known as the Angry Goldfish because they have a specialty house sauce that they coat like the goldfish crackers in. It's kind of like a spicy sriracha, really tasty. I might have to figure out how to get the recipe or make my own version of it in the future, because man, that stuff goes well with the beer. We got a chunky berry pie, and then some lady walks by with probably the most salted pretzel I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, that thing was like a car that was parked outside in the middle of the Midwest snow. It was just covered you could see like maybe a tenth of a percent of a pretzel after, and so I just toned it down for the picture. But yeah, a pretzel with a side of mustard. So yeah, that's what I did for the craft fair. Would I do it again? Probably not without a lot of extra work. I did note that if you were not in the business of selling traditional consumables, you were just kind of down overall. And that's just talking to all the different vendors that were around me. And so it just wasn't the best event to go to as an artist. I'll probably try to focus my attention more on actual art events if I can help it, or do more conventions. And I'm hoping to hear back from Dragon Con soon. And I did apply to Anime Week Atlanta, so hopefully I get some good results from that. But yeah, I am at 5 conventions for this year, and then 7 like single day events. Yeah, that sounds about right. So it'll be an interesting year, and enough yapping about that. Hope you all have been having a great evening so far. I'm gonna switch back over to the main topic, which is the art cart. So if you were, I'm just gonna take a second to hydrate here. But if you were looking at Twitter, you'll probably see the top part of this art card here. As I mentioned, the convention that's coming up on the 14th is a 2-day event, and it is like your traditional Comic-Con, although it is run by a friend of a friend who is an artist. And so I would imagine that what kind of vendors they have there would be a lot more aligned with the art crowd, as opposed to more of a traditional Comic-Con crowd. But we'll see. And we were just getting together, talking about doing a stamp rally, and the idea was aliens and cryptids. And what I'm gonna do for that is bring back the abduction soda that I have as part of my Halloween gadget system. Make that into a die cut sticker, blow it up a little bit, and then I'm also going to be working on a burger print for that, and it's actually going to be kind of a fun one, because I heard that people are using like more jams, jellies these days when it comes to burgers and savory recipes. And so I figured, why not do a abduction burger? And the idea being something like this, a quick doodle. I may have drawn this before, but it's something like this. I'm thinking like a pretzel bun, but shoots, no, regular style. So it'll be like that. Kind of like a saucer, with this part being where the cut is, and then there's extra cuts here across the top just to give the bread some room to expand. This is probably going to be a pretzel bun because I love pretzel buns. And it gives me a excuse to put some green salt on the burger. Probably just bolt up the outer rim of it like so. And then just have a big old glob of jelly over here. Like that. And then have the regular like burger toppings and whatnot below it. But yeah, the idea kind of came from like blackberry goat cheese chutney type of sandwiches that have been around for a while. But yeah, this is the overall idea, and what I'm thinking, spicy lime kiwi chili. Sounds good, doesn't it? So I'm planning on doing a print like this for the show itself, and then I also thought later if my gosh, I made this directly on the paint layer. I also thought later I kind of want to chill out a little bit about how many fandoms I try to get myself involved in, because I am old. I think that's probably the most elegant way I can put it. I'm old, and my taste isn't really like My Hero Academia, Jujutsu Kaisen, that kind of stuff. Like very modern shonen. I am just very old when it comes to the things that I like in manga and anime and that kind of stuff. But I do still like Pokemon. So I thought, hey, why not do a collection of the first 151 Pokemon? As food illustrations and potentially recipe cards, or even a book later on. And so I'll just build out the collection piece by piece, and it's going to be in the same spirit of these guys right here. I love these truffles, the Tangela tart, the Bellsprout cornet. I'm gonna make it more like food forward recipe style art prints, so it'll be a lot of what I did with the burger, but with the Pokemon theme. So that'll be a interesting project. I think artists need to give themselves a long duration project and then let them fill up their schedule with shorter term projects as well. That way there's just that feeling of meaningful progress over time and just an opportunity to observe the changes that you have with your art style over time. So that'll be this project for me. I want to do a full collection. I'm also participating in a Nat Geographic type of a magazine, and is with a couple of other art friends of mine who are also vendors. We're getting together to consolidate a number of art into a scene, essentially. And my idea was to do like advertisements to do like restaurant reviews, that kind of thing, a little bit more aligned with my overall interest and approach to art. And of course, me preferring my nostalgia, I am doing Lavender Town for both of these, and so it'll be pretty fun. I'm thinking maybe some kind of dark chocolate cake with I know in like molecular gastronomy, I am butchering that phrase, but there are cool things you can do with like steam, smoke, and whatnot. So maybe a dark cake with some kind of purple steam coming off of it for gasoline. Maybe some kind of ube treat for Gengar. But yeah, just like come up with something that might fit in Lavender Town as a restaurant. It'll be illustrations of food, a little bit of prose. I'm gonna have to flex my writing muscles after a long time, and it'll be fun, of course. Making a quick little thing here. Just mucho texto. And then just a bunch of fun little doodles around the whole thing. It'll just be a page, and then I'm thinking probably like a Italian French style, like vintage advertisement that's related to Lavender Town in some way. But yeah, it'll be a fun project to work on as well. So coming back to this, see if I can find the right layers I want to be working on. I'm gonna add a folder here just to help keep things a little bit cleaner. Card bits. the stuff that I want to keep on the top level. And I'll tell you a little bit about it as well. Okay, so this is a sketch. I am one of those horrible people who never name their layers for whatever reason while they're working on it. But anywho, so I was looking at Magic earlier because we were working on the artist card and editions originals, ACEO for short, and it's gotten actually kind of popular recently. I think it's just people wanting to make more stuff for themselves again and just have a little bit of like personal effect to the world, because there's only so much you can do with just selling fan art. You want to put yourself out there as an artist at some point, and these cards have been getting pretty popular because it's a great way to do that. And we were just thinking, you know, if we were gonna do this stamp rally, we might as well also work on ACEOs as well. And then we can all have our own and have the collection of everybody who's participating in this. And then these could also be the prizes for the rally itself. Because the other idea was just like some kind of die cut sticker or something. There's 7 of us in that rally, from what I can remember anyway. And so when you're up to that level of engagement in a single rally, you tend to go for more of a task oriented, a task objective, as opposed to a traditional payment threshold. You would see a lot of stamp rallies that are like, hey, you gotta spend $5-10 per booth in order to get the prize. And when it's such a large stamp rally, it just gets expensive, and so people start thinking about it in terms of, I'm spending this much to get whatever the final prize is, so is it really worth it? Oftentimes the answer isn't. It just is not necessarily, and so they just don't complete it. Our idea is to take some kind of alien and hide it somewhere on our booth, and if you point it out, then you get the stamp for that booth. And then if you find all of the alien across all of the booths, you can turn in the card and get a pack of artist cards. So that'll be fun. We'll keep it pretty limited, and I want it to be on theme with mine, but it has to be somewhat connected to who I am as an artist, whether it's the original character of mine or me specifically, something that's relevant at least. And I love cooking these days, so I have now turned into the alien cook, and we were free to come up with our own format. And I just looked at Magic because I know Magic has a lot of cards there, like do X, get Y type of thing. And I thought it would be just hilarious to reference the classic alien abduction trope of the cow going missing in the middle of the night because the alien came by and tractor beamed it up. And so there was this magic card that is black. It's called Bacon to Pie. Originally it's like this guy baking a crow into a pie. And I just basically took the text from that and transplanted it onto this card, changed a couple of things, grill into a burger, changed the icons here to little aliens. I actually learned a pretty interesting fact from a friend of mine who is really into magic, but apparently like Wizard of the Coast is aggressive when it comes to proxies if they use the assisting like logos and whatnot. So if I were to draw the skull or black mana here, I might get smacked by Wizards of the Coast. So it's just a basic instant. It destroys a creature and then creates a food token with the effect. And this was where I got to have a little bit of fun. I came up with the flavor text myself just to jazz it up a little bit, make it topical. So as they call it an abduction, they call it sourcing ingredients. So there's a cow being stolen to make burgers. Alrighty, I think I've talked enough about this, and let's get to the drawing. And I want to be down here for the layers. Now, I have been kind of changing my stance on whether to do line art or not in recent years. And I just feel like it just feels more natural for me to not do line art these days. Just block out the colors, kind of refine the shapes that I want, and then put the lines down if relevant. Because I think I can blame the food for that, because in food and organic things in general, you don't tend to have very strong lines. Tend to have more organic lines through colors and shadows and whatnot. So I'm just taking that into mind here and letting the print be the base lines be a little bit light. I'm thinking maybe kind of a silver, just a base wash it. Uh, here we go. Another one that we got a bonk. Where is it? I've forgotten how to do this already. There we go. Bye bye. Yeah, don't come into the stream and advertise your view botting service. I don't need that kind of stuff. I'm happy just the way I am, and if there's only one person watching me, that is perfectly fine. I'm very happy that you're coming in watching it. I appreciate it very much, and I'm just doing this to share my love of the art and cooking to the world. So numbers ain't my thing right now. Just a little bit of light coloring towards the top. Yeah. I'm trying to not be too serious about some of these smaller illustrations that I do, just because after a while you kind of recognize that there's a certain level of effort that's valuable, so to speak. It's kind of the Pareto principle there, like just a small amount of effort gets you a lot of results, but the remaining amount of effort that you would need to put in to really push it up is a lot more expensive than you might really want to be spending in terms of your time. Kind of shake it up a little bit and a little weird, because this is a kitchen in the stars, so the standard common sense do not have to apply. Also been a theme for my overall art style recently is I like silhouette breaks and just not being as constrained by the bounds of the canvas. And so it's been pretty fun just thinking of ways I can break out of the canvas here. So I got the pants and all coming down here. Get the galoshes on. Big old apron. And I should actually kind of mute this color a little bit. There we go. Because I want to have a walk in here. No, it should be just a pretty regular frying pan, actually. Let's make a cast iron. If it reads as a walk, then oh well. I mean, it kind of does anyway because I had fried rice going on here. But that probably should change actually. Would we be grilling ingredients? Would we be cooking the patty? Probably the patty. Gotta be a little bit flexible with the decisions. Add a little bit of lightness. And I suppose we could also add in just some additional little things. A little bit of red berry sauce. Take the sketch layer off for a sec. give them a little bit of grandpa energy, like me. Some nice dino shapes on there. Why not? And a little chest here. It's a can. I'm just randomly assigning these blobs to different things that you might find in the kitchen. Also just a way that I like to work sometimes. Just don't really decide things until the last minute. Sometimes the chaos of not deciding what you want to do until the last minute is just that spice that you need in life. A little bit of spontaneity, as they call it. but I'm pretty sure like Magic in general will give you kind of a lighter fill behind these. Mm. Also just a little bit liberating at times just to be doing a one layer style. Don't have to worry too much. Blend everything together and hope for the best. I also just like how I can be a little bit rougher, sketchier with these kind of illustrations compared to my typical things. Relax a little bit, have fun. Add in a little bit of texturing just to help things. But as usual, chaos reigns. Oh, ooh, I have an idea. could I add a slip of paper here? Then see if I can find a color that I like. I actually add another word. It's easy to reverse this. Just give it a little extra flavor. Yeah. Very good. Okay, out. I think that's pretty fun, don't you? I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm gonna call it a day, and thank you all for coming hope you have some fun watching and listening to me yap a little bit about the craft fair earlier. Until next week, have a good one.